We received 3 updates this week, and a lot of things about Deadlock have changed, whether it's the Vitality investment system, whether it's, the fact that we have a holiday challenge now with a little tree that you can, win on every hero and complete the challenges. You have snowballs, but in this video, I want to talk about the kind of main meta changes and the things that you should think about to help you win more games and understand the game a little bit more. And part of the reason that I'm making this video is because I've seen a lot of other stuff going around that I heavily disagree with. And I want to talk about that for a little bit, starting with the Vitality investment. Now, before we get into any of the changes, here's an updated tier list for you guys. So you can check out the link in the description. I keep this tier list updated every week or two. Obviously, it's going to depend with the holidays or whatever, but you can see kind of the changes that happened recently. So all the heroes with green arrows are heroes that I moved up recently. All the red arrows are heroes that are moved down. And if there's no arrow change, well, it means I don't really think the hero's position in the meta changed too much. If you click on a hero, you can also see recommended builds. As you can see, people really dislike my Geist build. Just keep in mind that the upvotes and downvotes are not really indicative of a build's quality, but it's funny anyway, so I'm keeping them there. And yeah, this is something that's updated fairly regularly, so I would highly recommend that you check it out in the description. There's no ads, no nothing, and it's free to use. Let's get into the changes. All right, guys, so let's talk about the green investment category because it received significant changes. Now, if you hover over it, you'll see that it, instead of giving you percent HP, it gives you flat HP, right? So what does this do? Well, this makes it better for heroes that have low base HP and low HP per boon gain. For example, Vindicta has 29 HP per boon, and she has pretty low base HP as well. So this change overall is a Vindicta buff, and it's a, for example, Moen Krill nerf, because Moen Krill has the highest base HP and highest HP per boon. So it kind of evens out the playing field a little bit more between the tanky bruisers and the squishier damage dealers, which the tanky bruisers last patch were really, really strong. Particularly your kind of like Abrams, Billy, etc. And so I think it's a good change. Now, I've seen videos out there that are saying, hey, rushing this is a lot better than it was, or it's even meta. Now, it is a lot better to rush greens than it was, but it's far from meta. And I want to talk about a few reasons why that is, okay? First thing is, the first argument that I want to debunk is I see people saying, hey, you go extra health, you get a ton more healing from the healing trooper, okay? I've heard numbers as high as 100 HP. Now, if you test it, you'll see that it's not 100 HP. It's more like 50 if you're extremely, extremely low, right? We can test it right now. So I'm going to go to half HP, and I'm just going to kill this trooper. And as you can see, you're never going to be lower than this. I have no deaths enabled, so I'm literally 0 HP. I heal for 295, right? So we're going to do the same thing, but with extra health. So here I have extra health. I'll go to 1 HP again. We just eliminated this trooper very quickly. And as you can see, we healed about 45, 50 more. It's not anywhere near 100 HP, and that is literally in the best case scenario where you have no health at all. If you're like half HP, you're going to get probably half of that benefit, so we're talking about 20, 25 more healing. Now, extra health is a fantastic item, but I just want to debunk the idea that, wow, you're going to get such insane amounts of value from getting this item, and I don't think that this will become meta. I think extra health is an item that's very valuable, and that will be purchased in certain lanes, but I don't think it's like, oh, you're going to get, this is going to become meta because of the healing trooper. If that was the case, that would have already become meta last patch, and it was good, don't get me wrong, but yeah, I would not describe it as meta. Now, the other reason why rushing greens is not meta is because, like, yeah, you just don't do as much damage, and sure, the other things were nerfed, like the Spirit Spike was nerfed a little bit, but if you're rushing greens, you're not really outputting damage, and there's not a ton of greens that actually allow you to output damage. Like, you could argue Battle Vest and Enchanter's Emblem, for example, do, because they give you other offensive stats. But if you're below the HP threshold, you gain pretty much nothing offensively from them. And in lane, you'll be below the threshold fairly often, especially if you're in an aggressive lane. So there's not really a lot of green items that give you aggressive potential. I would say one of the better ones might be Rebuttal, where this item, if you hit a parry, obviously you get crazy value. But in the 1600 category, there's very quite limited, aggressive potential from green items, which is good. Items that are green should be defensive. And so you're not really going to be able to kill people. And why is that important? Well, it's because kills were hugely buffed this patch. In fact, solo kills give 25% more souls, and duo kills get 15% more souls. And that affects the lane because in lane, every single kill that you get is either a duo or a solo kill. If you haven't seen the change, it's right here on the forums. It says increased kill bounty for solo kills, one attacker in the kill by 25%, and 15% for duo kills, right? So this heavily incentivizes you to kill people in the lane, and if you just rush green items, well, you're not gonna be able to kill people, right? You might be able to survive a little bit better, but I say that you should never really play the lane just to survive. I'm under the impression that you should play to win, because one, that's how you improve, and two, that's how you actually win the game, right? What's the point of just turtling? It's boring. It doesn't win you the game. It just allows you to stall, and you should turtle in lanes where you can't have any aggressive potential for whatever reason. But yeah. Now, one thing I want to make clear is that before, rushing green items was like literally not an option because it was percent HP, right? Most heroes, if they rushed the green investment, would just get nothing because it was percent HP. So early on, your base health was very low on most heroes, with a few outliers, but you would get very, very little HP. Now, rushing greens is an option within many other options, which it should be. You should be able to consider rushing greens if you're in a lane where, I don't know, you really can't interact and you feel the only way is you need to tank up for whatever reason. But I would never recommend that you default to rushing greens or even consider rushing greens as a meta option. Now, this brings us to my second point, which is the jungle. Now, as you can see, there are very little happy little snowmen in the jungle, but a few things were changed. So the troopers themselves, so in the lanes, the troopers are worth 12% less. Now, and the jungle in the first 15 minutes is also easier to take. It's less healthy. Now, you would think both of these changes incentivize jungling, and they do. But one thing that I want to make clear once again is that kills are more incentivized than jungling was buffed, right? So getting solo kills, for example, if you solo kill someone in the jungle, not only do you get more money than you did previously, but you still get the unsecured souls. And unsecured souls take longer on average to become secured as well. Now, this means that getting solo kills on junglers is like actually insane value. And I can prove it to you guys. So let me just look at some numbers from recent games real quick, just to show you guys. So this is a game that I played on Haze recently. I played this yesterday. Finally won. I think Haze is incredibly strong, by the way, and you guys can check out my tier list. It'll be linked below, but I think Haze is probably S tier, or at the very least A tier. But in this game, you can see souls by source. If you look at 30 minutes, I got 13,000 souls from kills. That's a lot more than you would have gotten previously. Now, of course, I do have 16 kills, so this was like a pretty good game for me. But overall, like, this is not like an outlier, right? If you look at other games, for example, here in this game, Lomain was playing Mina. If you look at his souls by source, you can see that he got, at the end, 10,000 souls from kills, okay? And so this percentage increase on solo and duo kills really matters a lot and benefits heroes that can get kills extremely significantly. So previously, having a Mina as the richest hero could happen, but very often the person who AFK jungled, like maybe it's the Ivy, would end up being richer than them. But now, the hero that actually gets kills usually ends up being kind of the richest at a certain point in the game. So kills are extremely incentivized this patch, and heroes like Lash, Haze, Calico, any hero that can really have a reasonable chance of solo killing people, even Mina, is buffed by this. And, Paradox, Holiday, like the gankers that can participate in kind of two-man kills are also hugely buffed by this change. Now, in order to kind of prove my point, right, I wanted to just boot up the highest ranked game right now. I believe Zergy is on the McGinnis here in this game, right? And I just want to point out that previously, any hero that would have been just kind of jungling would have been significantly richer than the other heroes, especially the playmakers, right? But in this game, you can see the net worth is a lot more even than it was previously. I mean, obviously you've got the outliers like the Kelvin being very poor, but he's playing support, so it's kind of all good. And part of that reason is because, well, the heroes, for example, the Mina, that got a decent amount from getting her kills, well, she's not as far behind compared to jungling as she was before. And if she manages to kill the enemy jungler, then she's hugely rewarded. So really, like, this is not a jungle meta whatsoever, just to be clear. Like, roaming is very, very heavily incentivized in general, even in the laning stage, by the way. Although the three-man kills, like, in comparison to two-man kills are a little bit worse, but you can still, roam in the laning stage. Now, I want to talk about a few kind of meta outliers and the reasons why they are. Now, people that gained a lot, I don't exactly know why. I'm not going to pretend I have all the answers, but McGinnis, as we're watching McGinnis right now, seems to be a big winner overall of these changes. Like, I've seen McGinnis do really well. I mean, here it looks like she's just gonna, die in the enemy shop, but I've seen McGinnis be doing extremely well in games. Her heal is insane, especially for base pushes. And since pushing the base now is a little bit harder, it does seem like having that sustained healing just gained a lot of value. I even had a game yesterday where McGinnis did over 90,000 healing. Now, obviously, it was a really long game, 47-minute game, complete outlier. But still, the fact that McGinnis was able to do that much healing is just crazy. And so the percent HP heal is really, really good, especially with like squishies having a little bit more HP early on. Gains value there as well. Now, another outlier in the meta is Mina. I think Mina is probably S+ tier right now. Very, very strong. And the main reason why I think she's so strong, I don't think this Mina is necessarily abusing that part, but is her stamina regen. So every hero's stamina regen got buffed. And that includes Mina. And Mina already had faster stamina regen than everyone. So I'm going to remove my camera for a second so I can show you the stats. If you look here, you open up this, you'll see stamina cooldown 3.25 seconds. So you can see that Mina's base stamina regen is 3.64 seconds here, right? And when you compare that to the average hero, if I go on another hero, for example, Kelvin. Actually, sorry, Kelvin's a bad example because Kelvin has slower stamina regen. But Geist has, here, we can see that Geist has 4.55 seconds base stamina regen, 4.55 seconds. And then it's reduced by kinetic dash, of course. But her base is 4.55. Mina's base is, what was it, 3.66? 3.64. So she has almost a full second less base stamina regen. And the moment that she gets stamina mastery, that regen goes to 3 seconds. Making it so Mina effectively has, for all intents and purposes, infinite stamina from what I've seen. Like, she basically never ever runs out of stamina. I mean, here we can see this guy only has extra stamina, and it still feels like a stamina bar is regenning so quickly, right? And to me, that makes sense. So even if you buy a slowing X or silence Mina, as long as she has stamina mastery, she can kind of just survive these situations. And so I think Mina is really, really, really strong. Now, the last thing I want to talk about are the patron changes. So we can see here the beautiful base. And so there's the shrine changes, which obviously makes the shrines tankier. I don't think this really changes a whole lot about the meta itself. Like, from what I've seen, like getting the kind of big troopers, the ones that are 30% HP, doesn't actually affect that much. Now, in theory, it does affect two things. One is it actually puts the winning team on a short timer. I'll give credit to Lightbringer for this idea, but the idea is correct because since all of your waves are pushing, when you're the winning team, it actually limits how many souls you can get because all of your waves are always pushing, which makes it so you're going to miss a lot more trooper waves because they're on the enemy side, so you might not be there to catch them. And so you're kind of on a timer to win the game, but obviously it gives you wave pressure on every wave by default, which is very powerful. So that's kind of the first thing. The shrines still die pretty easily. They don't feel that tanky. And the patron itself is still dies extremely easily. Now, the second phase of the patron in the pit here is fairly different. And what I will say about the second phase of the patron is all you have to do is just change your approach. So I've had people say it's difficult to see when the patron is vulnerable versus when we can damage it. And what I would say to everybody that thinks that is just as a default measure, okay, what you should do is you should just kill the enemies, okay? You should have to kill the enemy team. Just assume you will have to kill the enemy team in order to win the game now, okay? So don't think too much about, oh, can I shoot the patron? Can I not shoot the patron? Just get in the pit and just assume as a default you will have to kill the enemy players because if there's 2 players, it's invulnerable, right? So your default should be to kill them. It should not be to try to game the system, ignore the enemies, and kill the patron instantly like you would do before. One last thing that I want to touch on is this urn right here. Okay, so in my recent tier list, I moved Doorman up to S+ tier, and it's really just because of the urn. Okay, so this urn is incredibly powerful. And they basically like buffed it extremely significantly. So now you get significantly more souls from the urn in general. So the base urn is 600 extra souls, and you know, the comeback urn has also been buffed. We don't know exactly by how much. And so the urn is worth a lot more, and it's incredibly important to do the urn. And that's how I'm seeing kind of like huge soul disparities get created, is through this urn, okay? So I just want to really incentivize any hero that is good at doing the urn. For example, Viscous and Doorman are really the 2 best ones at doing and contesting the urn. Gained a huge amount of value this patch, in my opinion. So that's the last change. Don't forget about the urn. Anyways, that's going to be it for this video, guys. Thank you guys so much for the support. There's probably going to be a little bit less videos during the holiday season, as I might be away here and there. So, you know, I really appreciate you guys for supporting me this year. Hopefully I'll have another video before the end of the year. But, you know, 2025 has been kind of an insane year for me. And you guys' support, like, it really means a lot to me. So I just want to say thank you. I hope you guys have a good day.